All right, back of the show is Chase Hooper, who kicked off a wild UFC 256 card with a come from behind submission win over Peter Barrett. With the way this whole night played out, this was the perfect start to it, if we're being honest. Chase, good to see you, man. How are you?
Great. Just kind of, enjoying the win, and yeah, the card was fantastic. That's kind of the only problem for me is, all the bonuses go higher up, but I'm happy with the win, and I'm happy to get my full paycheck this time.
Absolutely. It was a pretty crazy fight. I saw all sorts of, it was like a little bit of everything in your fight, from stand up to the ground to you actually like him actually like headbutting your punches in the third round before the submission. Like, it was just crazy. It was pretty clear what the strategies were heading in. And Peter, through the first couple of rounds, he was fighting very smart. He was staying on the outside. He was trying to keep this thing on his feet as much as he could. He was scoring with the leg kicks a little bit early on. You were starting to figure that out as the fight progressed, but I doubt the game plan from Pete surprised you, but was there anything in regards to his skill set, how he performed, that did surprise you?
I would say the thing that surprised me the most actually was watching his previous fights. He was more like wrestling heavy. So it was interesting just to go in there, and I get it makes sense in retrospect with kind of how my fights have gone, and what his way to win would be. But I was just surprised he wasn't doing more clinching, because a lot of his previous fights, I noticed he had more like kind of that Usman style. Like, he has no problem holding the guy up against the cage and trying to beat him up from there. But yeah, it was kind of interesting just having someone that is a pretty decent wrestler like that, just wanting to disengage from the grappling the whole time. But it made sense.
The leg kicks, especially in the second round, those seem to have the most effect. Like, even the commentators, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but DC and Rogan specifically thought Pete was one good leg kick away from ending the fight. Like, was it at that point? I mean, it seemed like it was getting a little sketchy in there, but were they starting to take as much of a toll on you as maybe they portrayed it?
It was more like one of those things where I'm like, fuck, I should have checked that way earlier. I should have, been on top of it, because we knew going in there that he was going to do a lot of leg kicks. But I was real focused on his overhand right or his overhand left, because he liked to throw that a lot. And then I just kind of wasn't as focused on the leg kicks. But I'd actually been working like a decent bit of like switch stance stuff. So I was just kind of, resting the leg up a little bit. I don't think it was that close to being over with, but it was definitely, it didn't feel good. I can tell you that. But, yeah, I could have kept going for sure.
Yeah, third round, Peter looks to be 5 minutes away from his first UFC win, and then you drop for an Eminari roll, and he was able to get back to his feet the first time you did it earlier in the fight. This one, he was not so lucky, and it was like video game power levels when it came to confidence. Like, yours was rising as the seconds went on. His was drastically falling, and he was doing like everything he could to not get too reckless in that position. And you were staying super patient. Eventually the heel hook comes and you force the tap. Man, that had to have been one hell of a feeling. Was it not? Like, I think it was kind of portrayed, and even on Saturday, that you were down, like, it was like 2 10-8 rounds and you just came out of nowhere and won it. Like, I thought, personally, you lost the first 2 rounds, but I didn't think it was like you didn't get the doors blown off you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you can see by my face, like, I don't have a mark on me type of thing. So it's like, it wasn't like a crazy, like, Rocky, like, comeback like that, but it was definitely, I feel like I let him control the distance too much. Like, he had the cage control, and then also the leg kicks, obviously, because there wasn't a whole lot from either of us, like, significantly back and forth, scoring wise. So I feel like those leg kicks definitely really added up for him in that second round. But yeah, again, I feel like it wasn't a crazy like comeback, but it was definitely, I do think that positionally, because of where he was at and the leg kicks, that I was losing those 2 rounds, but it was closer than people like to make it out to be. But yeah, it was great to, land that Imanari, which I've been practicing for, months now, and kind of get to that position and be like, okay, I still have like 3 minutes left. I can take my time. I can just kind of hang out here. And, I was able to get to that, like the honey hole position that they call it. where essentially both of my legs are pretty much safe, like almost completely, and then I have like real good control over his leg that I was able to heel hook.
You're a very nice guy, Chase. You're friendly. You are a fighter. Peter was absolutely crushed by that loss, and losing sucks no matter what. But there is a pretty good chance, especially where we're at now in the UFC, that getting another fight for him in the octagon, especially right now, it's pretty unlikely with the UFC making some cuts. He's 0-2 now. I have no insight on that, obviously, but I think Pete was probably going into that fight thinking it was a do or die fight for him. As excited as you were to come back and get that win, was there a part of you that just felt so terrible for him in that situation?
I mean, definitely. That's kind of the thing, though, is like I wouldn't have been too far off if I'd have lost too. I don't think. I think they maybe would have given me another one, but I don't think it would have been like it definitely would have been a sink or swim type of thing. So we were both kind of in that same position, I feel. But again, I'm more pessimistic anyway, so I want to view it more as the, negative scenario than the positive. But yeah, it's rough, definitely. But it's just such a brutal sport, and you have to fight for your spot, and that's just kind of the way it is. But super nice guy, and yeah, I wish him all the best.
What did you think of the commentary overall? Because I'm sure you went back and watched it. You may have seen some things on social media about some of the things that were said, because I had to go back and watch it a second time, because I think I even tweeted this out on Saturday. It sounded to me like Joe Rogan had you released in the second round, off to the regional scene to get more work. But as you're watching it and seeing it all play out, what did you think of the commentary overall?
Yeah, it's brutal to, hear these people that you kind of idolize a little bit just kind of shitting all over you, It's kind of, I don't know. It's hard to deal with. But some points were valid. I just feel like it was a little more accentuated than it needed to be. Obviously I know I need to work on my striking. I'm getting that situated. I'm going to go to Thailand or something and get the work in that I need. But I think it's really just because of this narrative that I have, they're like, oh, his striking's so bad. But I was holding my own to an extent. Can you see me? I never felt out of there. I never, I didn't get rocked. I didn't get any significant shots landed on, anything besides my leg. So I feel like I'm definitely making the improvements, and I feel like that was kind of glossed over, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But yeah, I heard they were pretty brutal the whole night kind of overall, but it's just a little harder when it's, about you specifically.
Yeah, I think you're taking it in stride. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. And I kind of compare you to Ryan Hall early on in his UFC run, because, I mean, and it just turns out you got to work with him for this camp, and you've been working with him a little bit. You certainly can't go wrong with that. He's sort of this enigmatic figure here at MMA Fighting. We think Ryan Hall, we hear Ryan Hall's name, we always, maybe jokingly in a way, we think he's the best pound for pound fighter on the planet. He's the most dangerous man in the world. But what is it like to work with someone like Ryan? Because the man's just so smart. He's such a wizard, and he's been where you're at before.
Yeah, it's real, refreshing to, train with someone that's on that next step. I feel like he is the best jiu-jitsu guy in MMA. He's transitioned the best, has the best game for it, and his striking is definitely nothing to be slept on. I've had him spin kick me in the head before, and it didn't feel very nice. But yeah, it's just refreshing to train with someone that high of a level, and it kind of makes me want to, get to that level someday. It's just kind of refreshing, because you get kind of, I don't know, kind of lackadaisical. You're like, oh, I'm just training, I'm just doing this, whatever. And then you get to see that level where he's, just training every day, so focused, and he's at such a high level. He has, all these high level guys that'll just jump in on him, back to back to back, and they're all struggling, and he's just, looking there half asleep like he always is. and it's crazy to watch, and it just kind of makes me want to get to that level.
Yeah, he went from being the guy in the Ultimate Fighter. People would like eye roll when he was booked to fight. They'd be like, "Oh God, here we go! It's the boring jiu-jitsu guy." And now he's dropping dudes in the octagon in his last couple of fights. Dropping Darren Elkins, that is very difficult to do. That guy's a savage, and Ryan Hall dropped him twice, I think, in his last fight.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. It's weird when you see someone like the jiu-jitsu guy, outstriking the striker, and it's kind of that's definitely something that I aspire to kind of get to, but taking it fight by fight. Obviously.
Did you get a chance to speak with your pop Ben Askren following the win?
I think he texted me a little bit. We were also texting about some of our like funky family stuff, so it kind of worked out timing wise. So yeah.
I spoke with him probably a month ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I think we got some things going on." And then right before the fight started, it's probably that morning on Saturday, the one with Sarah McMahon drops on the Fight Pass Twitter page. It was so great, man. Life's pretty good right now between the show and winning fights and eating M&Ms, shooting those cool videos with Ben and the fam. Like, life's pretty good right now, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. This is kind of one of the things that I'm trying to be like super appreciative of is like not just fighting, but having all this other stuff, kind of with the company, getting to do all this cool stuff that it's like, obviously the fighting's cool, but it's like I get to go train with this, Olympian, both Sarah and Ben were, in the Olympics. And it's like, that's crazy to think about. And then, getting to train with Ryan Hall, getting to do all this video content with Fight Pass. And it's, I'm having a good time with it, and I'm just trying to, enjoy it and make the most of it.
When do you want to get back in there? Do you want to just turn right back around as soon as possible, or do you want to take some extra time, spend some time with Ryan and others, and continue to hone your craft, as the kids say, and just kind of slow roll everything? What are you thinking?
I think just because at the end of the day, the fights don't get easier; they go the other way. So I'm actually looking at booking a flight to Thailand, spending some time out there, a couple weeks, and just working on the striking. I feel like I need to get crisper, just kind of sharpen everything up, and obviously try to go spend some more time with Ben, but more wrestling oriented. Maybe if I could get to Ryan Hall's before the next fight, tune up some more stuff from there. It's just kind of because the fights just get exponentially more tough. So I need to, kind of be prepared for that. And then, just kind of honing my craft overall and just getting better and showing people that I deserve to be here. So hopefully the commentary is not as negative next time.
Listen, you're still winning fights. That's all that matters. They can say whatever they want, but you got your win bonus. That's all that matters. Have you been to Thailand before? Or is this the first time you've gone? Or that you're going?
No, farthest I've been was like Mexico, so it's going to be a big one for me.
There you go. Oh, man. I remember talking to Cynthia Calvillo. She went out there and spent some time out there. She said it was like a life changer. Like, not just because of the training you get, but just the area and like some of the things you have to do independently to like just kind of get through each day, because it's not like the most luxurious place on earth. You're there to work, and you can tell as soon as you get there. So are you looking forward to just the learning experiences you're going to get outside of just training on your striking?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of I don't know, it's like one of those things that so many people like dream of doing, and then I'm able to do it because of my job, or like, I am more in a position where I need to do it. And it's kind of I'm really looking forward to just doing as much cool stuff as I can and really making the most of the position that I'm in, and what opportunities the UFC's kind of provided for me.
What did you think of the main event on Saturday between Figueiredo and Moreno?
That was a crazy fight. I think those fights where both of these guys just kill themselves and kill each other, it's just kind of it's like a different thing to watch, because like a 15-minute fight versus a 25-minute fight, it's a huge difference on your body. I've actually done it before on one of the local shows, and it's just to get there on the high level. I think they're really putting flyweight back on the map. all the respect to Demetrius, I think he just had too technical of a style for people. But when they see people just, you know, like slugging it out, like trying to kill each other, like Figueiredo and Moreno did, like I think people really respect that. And then, you know, it makes them fans of the division, and it makes them fans of those guys. So I think it's good for UFC. It's good for the division, and good for the fans at the end of the day.
As a grappling enthusiast, what did you think of Charles Oliveira's performance? Man, I never thought in a million years I'd see a guy put Tony Ferguson on his back and keep him there for 15 minutes and almost take his arm home with him in the first round.
Yeah, that was crazy. Charles Oliveira is definitely something else. That's kind of, you know, another one of those guys that I kind of aspire to get to that level, because he's, you know, most submission wins, I think, in UFC history.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of that's a crazy statistic. That's, yeah, I have a lot of respect for that. And I have a lot of respect for Tony, too. It's kind of rough, though, watching him, you know, go from such a, like, living up to the nickname, like being the boogeyman of the division, to, you know, being on a 2-fight skid. But, you know, that's kind of the nature of the game. And he's definitely a gamer. So he's, you know, not taking any easy fights.
That's for sure. Listen, man, great stuff. Congratulations on the win. Your perspective on things is, it's pretty refreshing, to say the least, especially coming from a 21-year-old man like yourself. But happy holidays. Enjoy the trip to Thailand, and we'll see you back in there in 2021, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.